Hi, welcome. Simon here and hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to replace a MacBook Pro screen. As you can see that my screen is all pixelated. I mean, it's funny, has dotted lines on it and so on and so forth. So first thing first, definitely I like to turn off the computer and see if I can get the screen. Well, it's getting worse and worse. So anyway, now it's much better. All right, before you can go further up, what I like you to do is a little bit diagnostics. What you can do is to hook up using a USB-C to an HDMI and see if you can output the display to the external monitor or to your television, to your TV, and making sure that you do not have the same flickering on the TV or the external monitor. Okay, if the external monitor perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with the screen, like flickering and whatnot, then that tells me your LCD screen is 100%, is broken, you need to be changed. Sometimes when you output the display to the monitor and the monitor have the same display like this and flickering, pixelated lines like that, then that tells me it is not the screen, it got to be with the motherboard, meaning that it's coming from the graphics card. All right, so anyway, let's jump right into it. The first thing I like to do is to go ahead and shut down the computer, and we are shutting it down. Okay, making sure everything is closed, shut down, and we are ready to replace the screen. Okay, great. So let's take a look at the model. If you're not sure where to identify the model, take a look at the back of the computer. It says A1708. That is the model of this MacBook Pro. All right, so the next step is to get yourself a Pentalope P5 screwdriver. This is a 5-pointer. Let's remove the screw. So the screw on the top left and the top right, they are a bit much longer compared to the screw here at the bottom. The 4 screws here at the bottom are much more shorter. All right, once you have removed all the 6 screws, what I like to do is to go ahead and get myself a metal prying tool, something that is thin enough to stick in between that back cover to kind of get myself to pry open the back cover here. So if you notice that there's no screw here on the side, what happened is that it is a clipper. That clipper is clipping down that corner. So what you want to do is get underneath that and go ahead and pop it. So what I did was I just kind of push it hard enough to separate the back cover, but then here it's still attached to it. Okay, so do not try to push or pry it open on the top. You want to come back here and do the same on the side, pop it. Okay, as you can see, it is popped open. Now what you want to do is you want to slide the back cover towards your body. So slide it down towards you and then push the laptop away from you. So one push and one pull. Okay, and that way you can remove the back cover. How is it happening? It's because here is slide in between the top of that edge. So all you're doing right now is to slide it out. That is the key of sliding that both sides. All right, once you have done with that process, the next step is to expose this little tape here. So I want to make sure that this tape is removed. Let me kind of zoom it down a little bit. And the next step is to get myself a plastic prying tool, go underneath this tape here, and then there's a little connector. Flip the connector up. So you want to disconnect the cable by sliding it to your left. That is the battery disconnector, so disconnect that. The next step is to get yourself a let's see, a T5. So this is a Torque T5 screwdriver, and I'll be getting here and remove that one screw. Okay, after you remove the screw, you're all set. Now let's move on to the next part. The next part is getting myself a T5, a Torque T5 again, and I'll be removing all the screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? T3. Sorry, apologize. Torque 3. T3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it? What I suggest you to do is maybe take a picture of your computer right now. Okay, print out the piece of picture, print it out, the picture, print it out, and then as you remove the screws, you can just lay the screws on top of the picture so that it gives you a reference. It gives you a reference where you're going to put the screws back on later on. Okay, I do not want you to mix match the screw because they are not all the same, so do not mix match those screw. And if you're afraid that you misplaced the screw, just take a picture of the computer, print it out, and then as you remove the screw, lay it on top of the paper. All right, once you're done with that process, 1, 2, using a T3 again. I try to move my finger away from the camera so that you guys can see a better view, because it is hard coming from the top down, and every time my finger is on the top down, you guys can't see it. Okay, so let's move on to the next, removing these 2 screws using a T3 again. And then remove that little plastic. T3. Okay, now I'll be using a T5. T5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, T5. And then I'm going to use a plastic prying tool and go ahead and pry open the connector. They are just like Lego, they snap onto it. To remove, you just pry straight up. And then this is the 2 Wi-Fi. I just kind of lift straight up on that connector and disconnect that. Okay, so now everything is good. The next step is to get yourself a Pentalope P2 0.8. Pentalope P2 0.8. The little 5, the 0.8 is hard to see, but that little 5 pointy stuff. Okay, really tiny, really small. That is to remove all this tiny little screw here on the top where it's holding down your Wi-Fi connector. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, once you have removed all the screws, now what you can do is kind of slide that connector, the Wi-Fi antenna right here, kind of slide it out. So the one in the middle here is still holding it down slightly, a little bit holding it down. So all you have to do is just wiggle, get it out, and slide the thing out. So be careful with this Wi-Fi antenna, all right? So this is the one where it's going to slide out to that direction, okay, away from your body. and be careful with the wire, it's going to go underneath that hole. Okay, so that is that. And the next step is T8, torque T8. We're going to remove these 3 screws here, which is holding down the hinge. And then we're going to remove the 3 more screws here. Okay, once you're done with that, now you can just go ahead and open up the laptop screen. I like to push it all the way out, and then now this is the point where you can slide that connector out and slide on that side as well, and the entire screen will just pop right off. Okay, so that broken screen is ready to be replaced. Here comes the new screen. Let me go ahead and open it up. If you're not sure where to buy the screen, check the link down description below. I have them listed on Amazon, where you can buy directly through Amazon. If you're Amazon Prime, it's easier. It takes like 2 days for the shipping, so it's great. And if you are not from America, and if you do not have Amazon Prime, and if you are eBay shopper, you can go onto the eBay and find that screen as well on eBay. They do sell on eBay and Amazon. What I like to do is to push the hinge all the way down. Okay, push it all the way down and remove this old screen. And I want this little the LCD, the screen logic board, the brain of the screen, the PCB board, to go on top of the laptop. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to making sure that all the flex cable, everything is going to go on top of the on the laptop. Okay, and now this is where you want to slide the hinge back down. So open up the screen. Okay, open up the screen like that, and then slide it in. Okay, and then make sure all the flex cables are on top of it, and do the same on this side, slide it in. Now once you're in, while you're still holding it, what I like to do is to put one of the screw. I like to put the screw here to hold down the hinge, where I can close it. Right, so the whole point is to close the screen so I can work. So the only way to close it is to have this screw here install on top of the hinge and holding the LCD screen. Okay, now I can close it. Now before I close it all the way in, what I like to do is to make sure that the flex cable, right, things are not clipped down. You want to make sure that this is free. This must be going on top of it. Okay, now once you're done with that process, come back and finish up the rest of the screw for your hinge. Okay, because you want to make sure that your screen is holding down correctly with the 3 screws here on the left and the 3 screws here on the right. That is the whole main goal of doing this. Okay, now once you're done with that, you want to slide the Wi-Fi antenna. So the 2 little cable here, you want to slide it in that little hole, and make sure the metal part is sitting on top of the motherboard. Push it all the way in, and then have it pushed down all the way. Okay, I'm going to zoom back in a little bit so that you guys can see where the screw is going to go back in. But before I do that, I want to Have my T5. Okay, my torque 5. To go on top of the Wi-Fi here. That's one. There's two. There's the third one. Okay, and that is the fourth screw going back in. And here comes the Wi-Fi screw going back in, and then the cable. What you want to do is you want to take your time making sure that the circle, the connector circle is matching the bottom of the connector. So the circle goes on top and then you push it in, okay? You do not want to force it in because they do not take force. They just want to take accuracy. Here is your motherboard connector. So just like Lego, align them and snap it back in. Okay, once you're done with that, using a T3, we're going to put all the screws back together. So get this one here. Okay, and the tiny little screw goes back on top where the bracket is. Okay, now the bottom part here, the bracket and the two screw. Maybe I should do it this way, this angle here, so that you guys can see some of the screw that I'm putting back on instead of my big hand covering up the entire camera. Be patient with the screw. I know it is really tiny and not easy to put them back together. It's taking me some time. I'm trying to adjust the angle on the camera and I'm having a hard time to put it back on. So let me just put this one in here. Oops. Why is this so difficult to get in? All right, it's in. Okay, now this one here, what you want to do is you want to flip it back, push it back, and then tuck it in. So push it back and tuck it in. So push it back gently and then tuck it in. Okay, do the same for this one. Push it back. And then tuck it in. Okay, hope you guys can see it in this angle. All right, once you're done with all that, do not forget the plastic cover. That plastic cover will go back on top. Have the 2 screws put back on, covering up the hinge. Okay, and come back here and do the same. All right, once you're done with that, now this is the fun part, is to put all the tiny little screw back to cover up the Wi-Fi antenna. Take your time, fast forward if you want to, because this is the tedious job ever. And of course, if you strip one of the screw, not a big deal. I make a video out on how to remove the strip screw. So if this happened to you, that you strip one of the screw, check out my channel, go and look for strip screw, look it up. I show it to you how to remove the tiny little screw. And again, if you lost the screw for whatever reason, you know, you sneeze and all the screws fell down on the ground and you couldn't find them, it's okay if you miss 1 or 2 screws. It is not necessary to have all the screws in. I just do not know why they want to install that many screws to hold down the Wi-Fi antenna. And again, here I'll be doing it very gently. You don't have to tighten it all the way. I just want to make sure I have enough screw to cover everything, but you don't have to hold it real tight because the Wi-Fi antenna is not going to go anywhere. We have the back cover to cover it up. We have many screws, right? So just enough to hold the screw, and I think that should be it. Don't have to tighten it all the way. All right, so this is the last screw that I need to put in. Okay, so that is that. Okay, and then the next step is to put this screw and make sure that the connector is open. All right, make sure this connector is flip open straight up. You're going to slide this cable to your right. Go underneath the connector. Okay, you're going to make sure that it's slided in to your right, and then use this little tape to pull gently, very gently, just to give it a little snuggle, and then close that clipper. Push the clipper back down, tape it back down. Get this one here, covered it up, act like nobody's seen it. Oops, this way maybe. Yeah, covered it up like that. It's like, hey, nobody touched it, nobody see it, not me. Okay, at this point here, what you want to do, you want to install the back cover, and this is the back cover here. You want to slide it in. Remember, the top is to slide in, so go ahead and slide it in like such, and then press the both sides to clip it back down. You can hear that little click. Do not forget a screw, making sure that the screws are in the right place because they're not the same size, like I said. Okay. If you still follow along so far and able to get to this end process, I just want to say congratulations, and you are able to successfully change out your broken screen or your cracked screen. If you want to show an appreciation, please click the YouTube super thanks. YouTube super thanks allow you to share your gratitude towards me, and share your gratitudes, and yeah, so if you want to show appreciation and the work that I do, please click on that YouTube super thanks. If you do not have YouTube super thanks, you want to do a PayPal, I do have a link down in the description below where it will bring you to PayPal, and yeah, so just want to thank you in advance for allowing me to show it to you on how to do a screen replacement from start to finish. And please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye now.